BetOnline is your number one source for all your summer sports this season, from MLB, golf, NBA, and NHL playoff stats. All the latest stats, news, and scores are available to you to follow your favorite teams. So get the latest odds and lines, including the latest team matchups, player props, and odds on just about every sport out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in the action. BetOnline, where the game starts. So did you watch Monday Night Raw?
Yes.
Okay, so let's see here what we got. So I'm not going to go over everything they said, all right? But
very long.
The show opened up with...
Just give them the highlights.
Okay.
So at least they know what they talked about.
Right. So the show opens up with, what's his name?
Gunther and Priest.
Hang on. I got to get to the review.
Sorry.
Okay, so the show opened up where Kaiser's in the ring, and Kaiser's pretty entertaining the way he introduces his guests. It's like a 2-minute intro. He introduces Gunther. Gunther comes out carrying his crown, and everybody's acknowledging. First of all, if you watch the finish of the pay-per-view, Randy Orton's shoulders was clearly up.
Right.
Okay, so they literally
and
had
they brought it up on the show too.
They had to.
Yeah.
They had to. It was that obvious, right?
Well, I'm glad they didn't ignore it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, so Gunther was basically downplaying all that. Said he's the king of the ring. Now he's going to fight for the World Heavyweight Championship. He says the World Heavyweight Championship lacks prestige because the champion won it by taking shortcuts. He's talking about the briefcase. So then Priest comes out with Finn Balor and JD. He took issue with Gunther questioning the prestige of title. As we all saw, you did not beat Randy Orton, Priest. Priest said he cashed in because he earned the briefcase in the ladder match. That Priest said he cashed in like many others before him and said that's how it works. And he questioned whether Gunther gets how business works in WWE. Gunther said it doesn't matter what Priest thinks. He's the king of the ring and he will challenge Priest for the title if he's still champion of SummerSlam. Gunther said maybe Priest can teach him about business. He said he's been waiting for someone to teach him anything inside the ring since he joined the company. Gunther told Priest to give him his business lesson in the ring at SummerSlam or save it for after when he'll have to dress him as a new champion. Then Priest questioned what Gunther could teach him that he didn't already know. Priest brought up going to war with Gunther at SummerSlam, and then he was interrupted by entrance music, and Drew comes out. They hyped Priest versus McIntyre for the Clash of the Castle. And McIntyre said Punk has been back for 6 months now, and McIntyre said he's been the highlight of Punk's return. He said Punk would have screwed up and been fired with nowhere else to go, and he not injured him. And McIntyre introduced himself to Priest and said he would become champion in less than 3 weeks. And Gunther made his exit. And Priest told McIntyre he's not looking past him. Priest said he knows what will happen when the two of them are done. And McIntyre said he wants the best version of Priest possible, said he's spread himself too thin. McIntyre said Judgment Day versus Rhea got hurt. He said he's won 3. He's won 3 and soon to be 4 world championships. And said the fans of last year's Clash at the Castle broke Roman Reigns, who he would have defeated had not been for Solo. McIntyre spoke about the locations of Wales, England, and Scotland, and said the Scottish people are the most passionate people in the world. He said he's called a Terminator Warrior WWE, whereas they just call him Drew in Scotland because all Scottish people are just like him. Priest asked McIntyre if that was really his game plan. He mocked the idea of the booing fans getting under skin, and Priest asked McIntyre if his wife would be there, and asked her what her name is. McIntyre was not happy. Priest said just wanted to get under McIntyre's skin and see whether he would do something about it. Then Braun Strowman comes out, and McIntyre makes his exit, and Strowman entered the ring and went face-to-face with Priest in motion for sidekicks to join him, and Balor and McDonough climbed on the apron. And Priest and Balor indicated that Strowman was McDonough's problem to deal with and left the ring heading into commercial break. So this painted to me the picture that since there's really no heat here, okay, because they're all heels except for Braun, that this is obviously painting the picture. They're working to a 4-way something, because that's what it looked like to me. Why would you have all these people interacting face to face and stuff? And that's what it looks like, which to me is kind of lazy booking.
Well, you're probably right. It's probably likely, DI, because like we said yesterday, that June and July before SummerSlam is kind of, I'm not saying that they're just throwing the wall, but that's kind of what that,
I saw it a little bit
that period is.
Joe and DI. Yeah. I thought that, first off, obviously, everything you said, the guy,
Priest?
Yeah, Priest, basically, Gunther saying that he got everything by shortcuts and all that, and he's basically telling him, well, that's how the Money in the Bank works, right? Then Drew came in and he says, why is everybody not talking about me if I'm going to fight Priest in 2 weeks at the Clash of the Castle?
Right.
But I did like this little touch. I like when Braun Strowman came out, he stopped to look at Priest's title.
Right.
So what you might consider lazy. I consider good booking in that you've got a lot of people in this storyline going after the title. You got Gunther, you got McIntyre, now you got Strowman, and you got Priest who has the title. So he does that a lot. You know, Triple H does that a lot. You'll see how he does it later in the show, you know.
Right.
And I'm not sure why Punk hasn't been on the shows lately, because he's always in a good to great segment. Maybe they don't want to expose him too much, but he hasn't been there in like 10 years, right, Joe?
Yeah, it was 10.
Yeah.
Almost 10.
And the fact, see if you agree with me on this, Disco. Mm-hmm. The fact that Drew keeps mentioning him makes me think Punk's going to in that Castle match.
Maybe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. So they do finally they do the Braun versus Braun versus JD. Carlito comes out, a lot of interference, and Braun fights off all the interference and gets a power slam. Afterward, Balor and Carlito attack him, and he cleared them from the ring, and then McDonough hit Strowman with a chair. Strowman no-sold it, then knocked the chair out of McDonough's hand, and McDonough left the ring and ran to the back of Balor and Carlito. What you thinking? This is a good to get over Braun Strowman is
right
match.
But I have to throw this out here, dude. This now has to be a rib. There is no way that he does this on his own, bro. They literally have Braun Strowman running around the ring every match. It's got to be a rib, because he looks like. Have you ever seen how those power walk joggers? Yeah, they walk really quick.
He looks like a robot.
Like he's doing that running. Yeah, it's hilarious. If you guys haven't seen it, check it out.
What does Mayo do when he pulls a hamstring one of these days?
Yeah, why do they have him running around like that? He looks like a goof. Nobody that size is running after small people like that. It's got to be a rib, dude. It has to be.
So backstage, Liv Morgan was interviewed, and they asked her if she had any remorse for the way she beat Becky Lynch to win the title. She said no. She didn't know Dom was going to help her. And Morgan said there'd be nowhere to run or hide in the cage match, and that she would finally beat Lynch one-on-one.
What's great about this story, that I could be absolutely wrong, but I think Dom was in cahoots. But we'll find out.
We'll see.
Yeah, that's what's great about this story. You don't know where it's going.
Plus, she's really sinking her teeth into it as a heel, you know.
She's been great.
Yeah.
All right. So they go backstage. I've got some comments about this.
All right.
Okay. Finn Balor asked Carlito what took so long, and Carlito said he was waiting for the right time.
That's not a bad excuse, bro.
Yeah. Right. Carlito said he's waiting for Kate. Priest showed up and said McDonough was supposed to take care of Braun Strowman. Then Priest told the duo to find McDonough and bring him to the Judgment Day Clubhouse. Okay, well, that's not the one I want to talk about. That's the next one.
Yeah.
They showed a good Braun Breaker video that put him over as a monster. They also included footage of him killing Ricochet. They aired footage.
I heard he's out, by the way. Ricochet is going to leave when his contract's up. It's like later this summer.
Oh, is he
Where's
really?
he going to go?
I just heard he's going to leave, yeah.
To go wrestle with Ospreay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So Pierce informed Ricochet that he suspended Breaker for a week because of what he did, and Ricochet was not pleased because he wanted to face Breaker. It was in the trainer's room, by the way. And Ilya Dragunov showed up and told Ricochet he wanted to go another round once he's healthy. Ricochet said they could do it tonight. And Dragunov said he breaks people but doesn't fight broken people. And Ricochet pointed out that he's medically cleared and Pierce booked the match. And they come right out of the interview and they go straight to the ring. And they do the match, and basically it's back and forth. Ricochet's doing good selling here on his ribs. But he's getting ready for to do a finish, and out of nowhere, Braun shows up and spears the okay? After the match, Breaker speared Dragunov. Then Adam Pierce produces a rest, and Pierce scolded Breaker, was smirked, and then exited the ring. Pierce followed Breaker, continued to bark at him. The Breaker stopped, and then Pierce showed concern before Breaker finally looked him in the eye and then walked to the back. What'd you think about this?
Thought it was a good match. Ricochet hit that shooting star press, and then he got folded with that spear. He hit the other guy with the spear, and very disrespectful. And bro, the reaction to this guy is very interesting because you've got some people booing and you've got a lot of people barking, including Pat McAfee.
Right. So then they go backstage, and Pierce and Breaker arguing again. Pierce and Breaker walked away from one another, and Kelly wanted to speak with Pierce, but Kiana James got to him first, and Pierce told James he could speak at his office. And Kelly said she would try to catch up with Pierce later. Bro, I can't stand it when you have like these mid-card characters to do nothing with.
Right.
and their spot in the show is like they show up and said, "Hey, let's go to my office and talk." It's like it's just like so like literally they're going to go into an office and talk. We're not going to get to hear anything they say or like any character development. It's like whatever.
I guess they're just trying to little by little put him on camera and
they flew him over there is what I'm thinking. Yeah. So this did not make it to Hulu for some reason, but footage aired from earlier in the day of Miz standing in front of an ice cream truck that R-Truth is the side of. T-Miz said a Memorial Day ice cream truck was a great idea, and they questioned why Truth had to wear all white. Miz assumed it's because he's vanilla. Before he could say what Truth was, Truth said he was strawberry. Then Kofi and Xavier showed up and asked Miz what he was going to say. Woods asked if they were still doing a Memorial Day raffle for a shot at the tag titles. Miz said no, but Truth said yes. And Miz said they were WWE, not bingo. Then Truth said they were closed, and Miz made a quick exit. Then Cross showed up and told Woods that he believes in him, and Kingston has already had his time in the sun. Cross said he can't do anything for Woods until he cuts out the New Day. And Cross told Woods to watch AOP's match, and then he would tell him what he could do for him. Woods blew off the idea of ending a 10-year friendship because Cross was acting nice, and Kingston said Woods was saying no. Cross said it was typical of Kingston, and asked when Kingston was going to retire. Cross said he could help Kingston look at some early retirement plans. Then Woods said he and Kingston will face AOP next week and show them how much New Day has left in the tank. Cross said they want to do it the hard way, and that's his favorite. And after Cross walked away, the New Day duo agreed that Miz was not going to say strawberry. What do you think about all this interaction?
It's very interesting because Cross, the argument he's making does have some merit. Woods has always been like, out of those three, he's always been in the background. Because remember, one guy won the world title.
Right. Both of them did. Two of them did.
Yeah, Big E and Kofi. Yeah.
They both won the world championship. This guy, the only thing he's ever won is King of the Ring, or probably to the nerd fans in WWE being host of Up, Down, Down, whatever. That's probably something big. But, he's always been like, out of the three, he's been the guy that's gotten the less, shine, right?
Right.
It's new, it's different, and I'd like to see AOP against New Day because Cross is in a very precarious situation right now. He can't have something not work again, because after a while they
need heat.
Yeah,
he needs heat, right? So
I think I think it's going to work. It reminds me, I like that character too, the kind of snake, almost Jake the Snake, like he's negotiating, bargaining, showing him, that this is what's going on and you don't see it. And it reminds me what they wanted to do with Sean O'Hare back in the day. And I wouldn't be surprised if Cross, isn't a Sean O'Hare fan.
Well, here's the thing that makes it somewhat interesting. Even though, it's not really much, but it's making you wonder, what are they going to do? What's supposed to happen next year?
Right.
Like, I don't know what they're going to do, which is fine. That's like, they're going to
what I like.
And I don't know what they're going to do, so I like to see what they do,
Did you work with Xavier D.I.? Konnan, I think you were gone, but he was in Impact.
Yeah.
You worked with him? Okay.
Very briefly, he was there. He was called, what was it called?
Creed. Consequences Creed. And he came out in the American Apollo Creed trunks.
Yeah. So the AOP wrestles these Creed brothers, and they basically beat these guys and go over 2 minutes and 45 seconds. That's fine. And they actually had to, they did a little breadcrumb earlier where, like last week where Chad Gable was talking to these guys in the back, so they may be setting up for joining him. So I'm, they can get beat here.
I like that they got Scarlett involved, throwing that Ivy Nile into the ring steps, which was kind of a distraction for AOP to win.
All right. This did not make it to Hulu, and I'm reading the first couple sentences. I don't know why this reads like it doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. So they recap Cruz del Toro getting attacked by Carlito during last week's show. Then Rey Mysterio delivered a backstage promo, and I'm very surprised at this verbiage. You watch it, but this did not make it to Hulu.
I did.
He said Carlito was welcomed into the LWO with open arms, and Rey said Carlito would still be his brother had he not taken his current path. Rey said Carlito's jealousy over Dragon Lee made him bitter, and then Rey said Carlito could run to the Judgment Day, maybe they'll welcome him with open arms like he did. Rey said those days are over. Rey said Carlito will not find an old friend in the ring. He'd find out what happens when you cross the LWO. I guess I read this wrong. Yeah. Okay, no, that's fine. I did the verbiage here, I guess. When I'm reading, said Rey said Carlito would still be his brother had he not taken the current path. I thought he meant that he would still be welcome in the LWO even though he just screwed them over. So, but obviously not. What do you think about this promo?
Bro, I'm just disappointed. I just feel the LWO feud is stagnant. The Rey Mysterio and Carlito stagnant. That everybody there is kind of stagnant.
Sheamus made his entrance dressed in non-wrestling attire, slapped a lot of the hands on his way to the ring. And once in the ring, Sheamus said he was out of breath just walking to the ring. He brought up the bangers in the King of the Ring tournament and said he was not involved because Ludwig Kaiser took him out. Sheamus said he's back and he can't wait to get his hands on Kaiser. And then Kaiser appeared on the big screen while speaking from a backstage area. Kaiser told Sheamus Kaiser told Sheamus not to blame him for losing this King of the Ring match, and Kaiser said no one stood a chance in the ring with Gunther, especially not Sheamus. Kaiser was cut off by Sheamus and told the crowd he was going to get him. Then Cameron followed Sheamus as he headed to the back in search of Kaiser, who jumped Sheamus from behind. Kaiser dragged Sheamus on the stage where they traded punches until Pierce and a group of referees pulled them apart. Also, they had a spot backstage where J.D. McDonough was talking with Liv Morgan, and then Braun Strowman showed up and ran away. So what did you think of this?
They always have good matches, and I think they'll have really good matches together, and this is somebody, Sheamus was once in Kaiser's position, and he'll direct them and show them everything, lead them in the ring. I think this will be a good program.
Becky Lynch gave Lyra Valkyria a pep talk in the back. Lyra Valkyria does Kairi Singh with Dakota Kai. Lyra Valkyria goes over in 3 minutes and 45 seconds.
I like that black bodysuit she wore with the black wings. That looks really cool.
Yeah, that looks cool. All right, I guess I have some comments about this.
All right.
In the Judgment Day Clubhouse, Damian Priest asked Finn Balor and Carlito where JD McDonough was. Priest also asked Carlito why he was there. Carlito started to leave and then claimed he saw McDonough as he entered the picture. McDonough told Priest that Braun Strowman had been chasing him around all night. Priest brought up McDonough talking to Liv Morgan. McDonough said he spoke with them, but Priest didn't hear what he said. Then Dom entered the room with his arm wrestling. Priest had everyone else leave and asked Dom if he spoke with Rhea. Dom said he didn't. She knows he was only trying to help with King Queen the Ring. Dom said he told Ripley that he was going to try to fix it. Priest said Dom better fix it, do it tonight, or else he would hate to be in his shoes. All right. I'm getting the feeling, watching Priest, that he's not happy with the creative that they're giving him here because he sounds neutered when he's delivering his lines. Do you agree with that, Konnan?
I haven't really noticed that, so I can't disagree.
Well, it just seems very subdued. He doesn't really raise his voice. He's just kind of like back there, hey, what's up? Hey, where were you? You're just kind of like, I don't know, this is lame stuff to me.
We'll see.
Because here's the thing, dude. They never tied the strings on the end here with the Truth Priest stuff.
No.
Priest and Truth were still at there, and I don't know why they cut that off. The fans were with
It's
that.
almost like they took Truth out and put Carlito in.
Yeah, I don't know what this is. I'm not a fan of this. I think they need to go back.
And not only that, why did he push like 2 weeks ago when McDonough and the other guy went to help him? Why did he push him?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. So Dominic
is questioning Dominic about what he's doing. Like, it almost just looks to me like they're just getting ready to turn this guy face, bro.
So then they finally do
because he doesn't trust Balor anymore, right? He's always frustrated because they're not getting the job done, whether it's Braun Strowman or whoever it is. Okay,
right.
And I just think this has been a slow burn, and they're ready to turn him face.
So one of my favorite parts of the show was what do you call it? Was the they showed the Savannah Bananas at ringside at the photo by McAfee. And the Savannah Bananas are like literally the Harlem Globetrotters of minor league baseball.
Right.
So like tricks that out.
Good old Savannah, Georgia.
It just reminded me of the bananas from Australia. So I thought that was
they're very popular.
Bananas. So then we finally do Ray versus Carlito. Basically Carlito goes to the apron, was running the ring post. Finn Balor hopped the barricade, attacked Dragon Lee, who was out there with Ray. Then Mysterio dove over to Balor with a senton. The Ray returned the ring and avoided a backstabber. The Ray hit the 619 and dropped it down on Carlito and pinned him. After the match, Ray attacked Balor at ringside and placed him on the broadcast table. And Dragon Lee went up, but Damian Priest came out and hit Ray from behind. And he grabbed Lee and spat an apple in his face. And Priest entered the ring and hit Lee with a razor's edge. Then Ray entered the ring and dropkicked Priest and set up for the 619, but he had to fight on Balor. The Ray charged Priest and dropped him with a big boot. Then Priest picked up Ray and him with the South of Heaven chokeslam. Then Priest looked down at Balor and Carlito who were about to fist bump, and Priest glared at the duo and they froze. So basically, Priest had to come and get all their heat back by himself.
Doesn't already have enough problems. Now he's got a problem with LWO.
Right, and they're causing problems with everybody now. Right, and he's got to solve all their problems. You know.
I just think, does this feud feel stagnant to you or no?
Yeah, for like I said, I'm not into all this stuff because I was more into the priest and the truth stuff. They didn't, I don't know. They're trying to.
No, but I mean LWO and Legado stuff.
Yeah, I'm not into that. So.
Bro,
Yeah.
I didn't know this, but Cole said that these guys, it was the first match since 2004 and that he called it on SmackDown.
Right.
And also Carlito was wearing the purple tights that he wore back when he first broke in as a heel.
Interesting. Well, not actually. I'll be honest with you. That's not interesting.
It's interesting to me. He's my boy.
A call back from like 20 years ago. Is like,
no, I could see it's not interesting to you, but he's my boys, and I worked a lot with him in Puerto Rico. So.
I can argue that it's not interesting. That would be right.
That's cool.
Would you agree with that?
That's like,
or would you disagree?
That's cool.
Guys do that though. That's like when Scott Hall wrestled Bigelow in a ladder match on Nitro, and I think you were ringside. Di Scott, he wore his razor elbow pad under his outsider one, just because it was a ladder match. I guess like a callback or luck or something. Guys do that.
All right. So next was what we got here. Okay, so this is all right. So this is the next 20 minutes of TV was straight up sports entertainment. Okay. Chad Gable scolded Akira Tozawa for not being in Saudi Arabia and claimed he was distracted during his match because all he could think about was Tozawa. Braun Strowman showed up and was still looking for JD McDonough. He just kind of ran through the scene.
Right.
Then Otis and Maxine Dupree arrived after Strowman left to continue his search, and Gable said, "Look who it is. Goldilocks and her 3 brain cells." He told Dupree it wasn't a fashion show, so she shouldn't even think about going to the ring. And Gable said he would give Otis a chance to redeem himself by beating Bronson Reed. And Gable made Otis say no matter what. Right? So then Bronson Reed gets Otis in a big boy match. Yeah. And Gable, Otis battled back and was getting ready to do the caterpillar. But Gable got on the apron and told him no. And Otis looked sad and tore his shirt off and gyrated. And Gable went face to face and told him no. And then when Otis turned around, Reed dropped him in his face and then hit him with a senton and the tsunami splash for the win. So he wins. And after the match, Gable got a mic and stopped Otis from leaving. Gable told Otis to get back in the ring and then called for Akira Tozawa and Maxine Dupree to come out for a meeting. Gable said he's had enough. Coming out of the break, so they go to a commercial break, and they come back from the break, and Gable asked Otis what he's going to do with him. Gable blamed Otis for costing the Intercontinental title on Saturday. He said he blew it when he gave him the chance to redeem himself. Gable said Otis likes discipline, so he would show him discipline in front of everyone. Gable said he didn't want to do what he was about to do and said Otis made him do it. And Gable removed his belt and told him to grab the ropes. The Colt said this type of punishment went out 30 years ago. And Gable told Tozawa and Dupree to watch what happens when you bring Shane to the Alpha Academy. He's going to spank him with the belt. Then Gable wanted to hit Otis with the belt, but Dupree grabbed his arm.
Which got a pop.
And this whole segment got a pop. It got a reaction for everything they did, right?
Yep.
So Gable asked her if it was too much for her. Then Gable told Dupree to leave and not come back. And he asked Tozawa if he had a problem with it. He told her to stand and watch. Then Gable wound up with the belt again, but then Sami Zayn's music came out. And for some reason, Sami Zayn came out and did like a side pose like he was James Bond or something on the stage. You notice that?
No.
It's kind of like a weird thing. He's like, it's like he was doing like a model.
I noticed he stopped to ask her if she was all right.
Right, but then he was excited and like staring in the room. It was like a model, like a modeling look. Right?
I didn't notice
so,
that.
So Sami Zayn came out and spoke briefly with Dupree before she headed backstage, and Gable told Zayn to stay out of Alpha Academy business. Zayn climbed on the apron, and Gable told him it was his last chance. He better not take one more step. Then Zayn came in anyway. "What are you going to do, Chad?" Zayn asked. And Zayn said Gable thinks he's tough, but he's a weak little man. Zayn said Gable has manipulated his way into multiple opportunities for the Intercontinental title. He's come up short each time. And Zayn said Gable finds people to blame, but he can't get the job done. Then Gable said he would have gotten the job done on Saturday had not been for Otis, so now he gets his discipline. Then Gable wound up with the belt, but Zayn took it away from him. Then a whoop that trick chip broke
I know
out.
that was great.
Right, then Gable motioned for Otis, who stepped forward. Then Zayn asked Otis if he's going to listen to Gable and how much more crap he's going to take. Then Zayn told Otis to listen to the fans, and the people really get with this, right? So Otis looked at the crowd and started to fire up, and then Zayn told Otis to listen to his heart. Then Gable attacked Zayn, tackled him, and threw punches. Then Otis pulled Zayn off Gable. Then Zayn told Otis that this was his chance. Gable grabbed Zayn from behind and German suplexed him, and then Gable threw punches at Zayn, but Gable picked up the Intercontinental belt and dropped it on Zayn while a Let's Go Otis chant broke out. Gable left the ring to booze, and Tozawa followed, and Otis stayed in the ring and looked down at Zayn until Gable ordered him to leave. And Gable had Otis and Tozawa walk in front of him and then turned around and looked back at Zayn. The crowd was with every single thing they did here, which just shows you they're doing something right.
Yeah,
So
and
this is
like
good stuff, you know.
my barometer sometimes, because I had the show on Conan, you know, and my wife came downstairs for something, and you know she don't watch wrestling, so whenever she comes down and she stops and doesn't leave and actually watches a segment, I'm like, oh, okay, this is probably it'll work, you know, among a wide base. But yeah, she was way into this. Hated Gable and all, and I was like, "That's good. That's what you're supposed to hate," you know. But yeah,
Well,
last week I was a little bit more. I was too nitpicky because I was thinking, well, why is Otis listening to him? He's so much bigger, right?
right.
And today I just was thinking, all right, because he respects him because he's his teacher, you know. And I was able to enjoy this way much more. And I just liked everything they did. He went up with a caterpillar, he cut it off, people booed. He went off on Ozawa. He threw the girl out of the ring. He insulted her. You know, Sami Zayn came down. You know, they thought Otis might turn here. WWE is real good not giving you things when you think they're going to do it, you know, because when Otis finally does do this, the place is going to erupt. And much like the Priest, Drew McIntyre, Gunther, you know, Strowman thing, in here you've got Zayn, Gable, Otis, and Dupree. I don't really count Nozawa. They're all getting the rub here.
Well, let me tell you another thing too that makes this thing resonate with the fans, and why I think one of the main reasons it's getting over is, dude, it's like Gable is like bullying like a fat kid,
right?
And the kid's got this mopey, sad look on his face, like he's getting bullied.
Right.
And like the people are looking at the visual, and it's like, you know, like it's like the fat kid in school getting bullied. He's all sad. He's like he can't do anything. It's good. It's good.
Right. And Otis does a great job of selling all of that.
Excellent job of selling, and that's the visual. You know, it's just like, you know. So all right. So next is
the cage match.
No, we got some other stuff first. All right. So another exciting angle. Backstage, Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark were interviewed by Captain Kelly, who identified them as the number one contenders for the women's tag team title. She actually asked if they feel more confident knowing they'll face Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. They expressed confidence, and then Stark said they'd never met them and should invite them to Raw. Sonya Deville showed up and said Baszler and Stark were talking like they were champions, and she said they would be with her help. Baszler ran through her credentials and told Deville to walk away unless she wants to go to rehab again. Deville said she respects Baszler's accomplishments, but she doesn't think the locker room does. Then Baszler and Stark walked away and encountered Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. I haven't seen them in a while. The Fire recalled Baszler and Stark claiming they'd beaten every team while pointing out they'd never beaten her and Dawn. Deville returned and said, like I said, no respect. All right.
So it looks like she's going to end up being their manager.
Right. Let me tell you another thing they've been doing on the show. Because they're doing good soap opera storytelling for each angle. There's multiple times during the show, like you got to really pay attention when there's an backstage interview going on, because you got to look at the background and see if there's characters in conversation, which are like breadcrumbs for later on. Have you noticed that? Yeah. They've been doing a lot of that lately, which is, you know, because they know where they're going. They put a little nibble out there, and they can, yeah. So it's just, they're leading the fans. They're making the fans. You know, it's kind of funny because
to me, it's great storytelling.
Well, the funniest thing is Dave was on a rant the other day, talked about how AEW has too many storylines in there and it's hard to follow, right?
What?
Which is the most ridiculous thing. But let me tell you this too. This was literally, and I used to get aggravated at this back in the day. The dirt sheet guys.
Okay, stop 1 second. Without getting mad. Hey, Joe.
Yes.
When we have Brian Alvarez here, I want to ask him that question. What storylines could Dave be referring to?
Well, that's Dave, because Brian's complete. Dude, bro, if you listen to Brian and Dave on clips lately, Brian's he's at his wits' end.
I want him to tell me what story Dave's talking about.
Right. Well, just Dave's talking about, like, I'm saying that AEW has too many stories and it's hard to follow.
Which ones are they?
Okay, I'd like to know, right? So, But the thing is, they used to do this back in the day. When Russo's booking, they would say they're like these dirt sheet guys who do the reviews of the shows. I would make fun of their reviews, right?
Right.
When they were talking about, I did this too confused. I'm like, dude, speak for yourself. If you can't follow a wrestling show and think there's too many things happening in the storylines, go watch an episode of 24. Go watch an episode of Breaking Bad. Go watch all these other shows that have high ratings and people are following along, because it doesn't matter if you can remember the stories. There's so many good content coming at you, like on a weekly basis. They continue the story and remind you what happened the week before.
Yeah, Sons of Anarchy, Games of Thrones.
Everything was like
Wire.
Like you're trying to tell me wrestling has too many stories to follow. That's like that's an embarrassing statement to make, right?
Right.
So, but what they're doing here,
especially when the opposite is true.
Right.
Just real quick, because you're talking Alvarez. So I put up on the K100 Facebook that he was returning. And I want you guys to hear some of the comments. And this, to me, is the kind of comments Dave would get, or even Tony Khan if he decided to do a show. People would, So this guy says, this will be good. He'll have a respectful discussion with Disco. Kind of respect him now for coming on. Should be an interesting show. Is this April Fool's? I hope he does a better job selling his knee. And anybody want to go faster is the other one.
No.
So it gets you a little respect when you know what I mean?
Yeah, because here's the thing.
Because I thought, and I was wrong, and I think I told him, I thought since Dave didn't want to come on, he didn't want to come on. And I was absolutely wrong.
No, me and Alvarez are cool. Like I
didn't know that, bro.
We've always been. Well, we actually like a couple years ago. He booked me on one of the a show they did. We tagged with you. We were tag team partners.
Didn't know that.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I've always been fine with Alvarez, right? Even though I just didn't like the way he used to bury Russo. That was my only contention I had, and I just disagree with him on some of their takes. But the thing is with him and Dave. Because Brian's wrestled before, and he's done it. And, bro, Brian Alvarez is a far better wrestler than I would have expected.
Right.
When I worked with him. He was way better than I thought he would be, right? But because he's wrestled, it's like he understands the nuances of storytelling way better than Dave. Like, Dave thinks that a storyline is a guy's attacking a guy in the back and they have a match next week. He says, that's that story. And then Brian's like, that's not a story.
Bro, he's been too long. Too many great stories to think that way.
Right.
I just cannot. It's very hard for me to comprehend that.
Right. So, it looks like Sonya Deville's going to be. Okay, so next week, they announced for next week, Sheamus versus Luke. Okay, so here's the thing. Let's talk about like these matches coming up and how many weeks of storytelling they've been doing for each match. Sheamus versus Luke Kaiser's had about 3 weeks now. Okay, the New Day against the AOP guys has been 2 to 3 weeks, right? With the Cross doing these things that. Okay?
Right.
And then they have Priest versus Priest versus Rey Mysterio in a non-title match, and I'm like,
why?
That's what I'm saying, dude. It's like they're steering off the path to go here, right? I'm like, he's like Priest is spread too thin here, It's like,
I was gonna say that's a lot of Priest.
I'm not a fan of that, right?
That's what happened to MJF, and we became disinterested.
Yeah, but what's going to happen there is there's going to be somebody's going to interfere or screw up or something that's going to highlight their storyline going forward, right? So finally, we do Liv Morgan versus Becky Lynch in a cage match. So Don came out and opened the cage door, and Don motioned for Lynch to exit via the door. Then Finn Balor and McDonough ran out, and Morgan dropkicked Lynch while Balor and McDonough spoke to Don. And then Morgan tried to escape, but Lynch grabbed her feet. Then Braun Strowman ran out because Balor and McDonough out there. They've been chasing around all night. They're out there. So they go running around the ring, and they run where Dom is in front of the door. Braun knocks Dom into the door. The door closes on Becky Lynch and knocks her back into the ring. And then Morgan escapes through the doors and win the match. Yeah. Okay, now on Hulu, they added the post-match. Okay, and they showed they're back in the thing, and they showed what you call it, her and Dom in the alleyway kissing, and Dom acting like he didn't know what's going on, right? So that's how it ended on Hulu. But people that saw it live missed all that.
Let me say 2 things about this because you basically, the match was good. The people weren't into it as much as I thought they would be. Mm-hmm. From what I read today, I don't remember where I read it. I guess Becky Lynch is leaving like on a hiatus. Mm-hmm. Is that correct, Joe?
I'm looking it up now. I don't think anybody. Yeah.
Anyways, for those of you that didn't watch the show and you're just listening to it, what a great thread! Strowman gets hit with a chair and now is looking for McDonough, is running after him, looking for him, and the payoff is in the main event. Right. Very, very sports entertainment finish. Right. But I liked it,
right?
And I liked when, as Joe said, Liv Morgan's done a great job sinking her teeth into this new thing. Her new persona. I liked when she was rubbing Lynch's head in the cage and saying hi to Rhea Ripley.
All right.
I thought this was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's being reported. It'll be a hiatus. Sorry, go ahead.
She's doing like a lot of stuff that is going to build up for when Rhea comes back to get a huge pop and everybody wanted to kick her. So that's her character right there. But yeah, I actually I liked the storytelling
Right.
on the show. I'm not a fan of some of the stories, though. So that would be about the best way I would describe this. I'm even though Priest is involved in everything right now, I'm not. It's like it's like he's involved in so much that I'm not interested in what I'm not interested.
Well, I'm not
as much
that
as I would be,
interested
you
in
know what
all
I'm
of
saying?
Priest's problems, but I am interested in what's going on with Dom and Liv, and what's going on with Carlito. Okay,
Right.
I'm liking the Karrion Kross because he's such a great character, not because he's our boy. He is a great character. And he's trying to convince Xavier Woods, who's a mega baby face for many years, to walk on the dark side. And it may be time for him to take a little dip,
That'd be cool.
do something different. Braun Breaker's been great,
Right. And they've invested a lot of time into getting Otis and Chad Gable where they need to be, and it's working.
Over.
It's working great. Yeah.
And they still haven't even done, which I don't know if this is going to be whack or not, the Uncle Howdy and the
Oh yeah, when they're coming with the QR code thing.
the Wyatt,
Howdy do.
Yeah, Howdy.
I call him Howdy do.
What is it? Yeah, Uncle Howdy do.
Call of Duty and Uncle Howdy.
They're saying Dexter Lumis will be part of that, and
Right.
what was that little weird? I think she's from Ireland. Right. Yeah.
All right. So that's been our Raw review.
Boom. Yo, what's up? I just want to thank you guys for watching this clip. Don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And join our YouTube membership for hours and hours of exclusive, unedited, uncensored content. And being a member will help you get involved in our upcoming live streams. Thank you for your support. Thank you for riding with us. I know you got a lot of other podcast choices, be it wrestling or other ones. And thank you for picking us. Boom.